While flying high in the clouds above what is now a safe, content, and populated city, it's difficult to not feel at least a little bit of pride in the accomplishments my acolytes have achieved. While not acting alone, we watch them toil and struggle with their unique problems that stem from their environment. As their divine deity of worship, I heard their pleas and cries for aid, all while trying to keep the monsters that lurk in the world away from their doorstep. Working together, we built a thriving nation. Now no longer needed, there's a real sense of contented gratification in saying goodbye to these hardworking people, in order to move on geographically and help someone else who strives to grow as well. This is the cycle of Enix's ActRaiser, a game with a unique hybrid of platforming action and city building. Like many city building games of the era, much of the time you'll be looking at a growing town through a bird's eye view. However, unlike games like SimCity, ActRaiser isn't about managing the economic resources of these towns in order to develop them. Instead, all of these are expedited and taken care of by the people themselves. This is where part of ActRaiser's twists and gameplay design comes in. You're not a mayor or a town builder, but a god. And with the help of your unnamed angel supporter, you'll fly through the towns as they grow, removing the threats of monsters, all while listening to the plights of the hardworking people below as they pray. Every city starts small, with just 2 inhabitants, with the simple request of keeping them safe, and guiding them to where to build next. This guidance is as simple as tracing a path through a grid of the geography, and over time, more and more people will inhabit what was once undeveloped and barren. Nevertheless, there are barriers to keeping the village from expanding into a bustling city. The path to growth is often barred by obstacles that you'll need to use your divine powers to remove. Through the request of your people, bushes and trees can be eliminated with the powers of lightning. Sands are washed away through flooding rain, and both snow and marsh are dried up with your scorching sunlight. But that's not all that stands in the way of progress. These lands are overwrought with beasts of many forms, all who want nothing more than to impede your progress by massacring the growing population. They'll fly away with the people, destroy their crops, demolish their homes, and the worst variety will wipe all of your progress to basically zero. Your angel guardian will need to personally keep them at bay while you simultaneously remove building obstacles and orient the town's construction to help the townspeople fight to get rid of these dangers. In these portions, there's a real sense of teamwork in watching homes and roads crop up. Each region holds its own difficulties, like the aforementioned trees or sand that impedes expansion, which you'll need to remove to assist the inhabitants. Beyond these, though, each location also comes with its own flavor of story as well. A lost boy needs to be given bread from his parents, and villagers who worship false idols bring a temple of monsters that creates danger. The outcomes of these stories often bring rewards that will in turn help other civilizations grow and prosper as a result. Things like the creation of music, wool, or medicine is something that can be passed from one city to another as they're needed for their evolving stories. And it's a reminder that this is a connected world, full of people. Outside some of the very late stages of ActRaiser, these portions are both easy to manage and fun to play through. There are just enough moving parts so as to not be overwhelming, and there's a very satisfying quality to watching the town slowly emerge from nothing as you aid each location with their struggles. ActRaiser isn't just a city building game like some of its contemporaries though. Sometimes your people will need you to fight for them. Before anyone can begin to settle into an area, it must be cleared of its monsters. This is when you'll personally come down from your palace with sword in hand to go through side-scrolling levels. These play like many other classic games of the genre in the Super Nintendo era. You'll start with only your sword and traverse environments while slaying monsters and collecting point pickups or health. They're more or less very straightforward, with a few branching paths with items to find. As you progress through the city building stages, you'll also level up and acquire more health as well as different magic spells that can be used to help fight the bosses that conclude each area. Platforming is a little on the clunky side, but isn't unmanageable. However, in terms of maneuverability, sometimes it feels like the best option is to just run through enemies rather than to stop and fight them. Oftentimes, they'll be placed in such a way where dodging the breadth of their incoming attacks just isn't an option. Despite this shortcoming, going through these areas is still a great bookend to each chapter, and works to break up the pace of the city building. Were it on its own, it could become monotonous and be less satisfying. As it stands though, it makes for an excellent side dish to an already great main course. ActRaiser is a game that rises above the sum of its parts. Like clockwork, there are a lot of elements that when taken on their own, wouldn't seem as special. But when they work together, There's an intricate and satisfying blend of ideas and genres that makes for something wholly unique. It continually spirals into itself as ideas and mechanics play off of one another. As the credits roll, there's a genuine feeling that you and your people have struggled and worked hard to build this world. Neither could have done it without the other. Just like the people and their god working together, ActRaiser wouldn't be quite as satisfying without its mix of genres and ideas. It's a wonderfully balanced set of designs that changes and shifts, never sticking to one thing for too long. Each concept works to bring you closer to the people you're trying to help, and by the end, you're filled with fulfillment and pride over what you've helped accomplish.